Howdy, shushberries. Hello, shush puppies. Hi, hackers. I don't know, man. Until y'all decide on a name, I'm probably gonna keep choosing something that's just increasingly more and more horrible. Anyhow, what's up, people? I am Shusheries, also known as Rachel, Foxtail, Psych, NMDD, and so on, depending on what corner of the internet you know me from. So, I just wanted to make these videos because I haven't really done an actual challenge in a long time, and I haven't done an actual illustration in a long time either. So I thought I'd tell y'all a little bit more about the piece, see if my microphone from the back of my closet still works, and make this video at 5 in the morning instead of sleeping. Because it's 5 in the morning and I haven't recorded in literal years, I'm just going to make the disclaimer real quick that the audio may be messed up, because I have no mic stand and I just have it sitting in a box turn stand, and I barely have any plans for what I'm going to say aside from a text document that says some quick bullets, some question marks, and the word profit. I just wanted to see what changes I've made, show y'all how I did the drawing, what my thought processes, though very few, were in it. But anyways, I can't really recall a time I've done a drawing, like a redraw before, except for with this specific drawing for some reason. So I figured, hey, I'm lonely on a Friday night, pretty pathetic, and ready to spend, 7 hours on a drawing? So I redid the first digital drawing that I did and that I could find, which I've redrawn in 2018-2019, which you could see at the beginning of the video. It ended up being a long drawn-out process involving me, number 1, finding my old DeviantArt, and number 2, going through however many pages of that nonsense there were until I realized there was a last page button, and then deciding to promptly ignore it because I ain't no quitter. So a little bit about this drawing. So this is probably one of my oldest OCs, and by oldest I mean I had this kid in elementary school, and I just have not managed to shake them. They've gone through a few little redesigns, like originally their hair was brown because they're basically just me except for paler and part animal. They at some point also did magic, which I threw out that character idea pretty much in the same month I thought of that. And I changed the world they were in and what stories I wanted them in. One of the stories I'll kind of dig into because it's more relevant to the picture. Anyhow, their name is Rachel. They are, as you can guess by the old title and the subject of the picture, a shapeshifter. I'd seen a lot of shape-shifting things in media like Animorphs, Green Lantern, Mystique or Raven, and that green dude from Teen Titans, the Beast Boy. And I was like, you know, being the cringe goth kid in middle school, I liked the route that Animorphs went with the shape-shifting being slightly mortifying and scarring to the youth. How about I copy that idea and make it actually painful? Along with that, there was some kind of story that my OC got involved in with a previous friend about how true shapeshifters in the story, they were actually immortal and pretty much unkillable, and I figured, they need some kind of foil to stop them from just becoming overlord dictators or just generally disgusting people. So I figured, you know, if shapeshifting was actually painful, it may either push them to insanity if they shapeshift too much, or prevent them from shifting into anything too horrendous to prevent them from getting too out of hand. There's also something or other about if the changes are smaller, they hurt less, or if they knew the anatomy behind it, they could have to help them to have a better shift. So there were some ways of making it easier on them, but overall they just try to avoid all of that and stick to small things like changing their hair color or something. The original idea behind the drawing was I just wanted to explore that idea of how they would shapeshift in the first place. I had nothing else to do in my math class, so I just drew a little scene of them. And I decided to take a chance using GIMP despite my intense burning hatred for it and how I absolutely just want that program to burn and just disintegrate if possible, just to do a digital drawing for once. And that's how I got my original drawing. I mentioned that I ended up redrawing the picture sometime in 2018 or 2019. I think because my school counselor wanted me to do it. I can't remember the exact thing he wanted me to do. He was having me like draw my emotions or something, and I always use Rachel as an outlet, so I said, yeah, I'm gonna do that again. It's gonna go great. And he looked over and he said, yeah, no, I want you to actually draw yourself. And I was like, unfortunate. So I never finished that. But some of the things I wanted to do was to make it have a more exasperated look. I didn't like how they had basically no emotion in the original drawing, so I wanted to have some of that, just a smidge. I wanted to give them some eyes, actually have proper anatomy, like the bird wings actually look like bird wings, and put some perspective in the drawing, because it was kind of very flat. Aside from that, I knew I was going to change some of the things in the drawing that I didn't exactly draw too well or didn't make sense. I even considered making the floors be hardwood at one point or another, which I almost did in the redraw this time. I got so close. But after I did the line art, I forgot to draw the planks and elected to go back to carpet because of the fact that I'm just really bad at commitment or something. But making it hardwood would have made more sense in the long run, because the house she lives in was basically an abandoned early 1900s house that they just wandered into, sat down, and said, yeah, this is my place now. Having a wood floor would have made more sense, but commitment issues. Going back into it now, I decided to keep a lot of those changes that I made in my first redraw from 2018. I wanted to give it more dramatic lighting and have her slightly further along in her transformation from human to more animalistic. I decided to also switch it back to a landscape orientation. I don't know why I did it in portrait in one of the 2018-2019 one. It's probably because I just ended up drawing it like that in the book and said, whatever, I don't care enough to fix that in post. And I just never fixed it, so I just put it back into landscape this time because I wanted it to ring more true to the original drawing. I also wanted them to still be in their room, and I wanted to hunch them over a little bit more to get closer to that original pose. It was either that or I was going to have them arch their back because of the growing of the wings and stuff like that. But I went, nah, just going to go back to the original pose. Something else I did in the original drawing, I made the color of their blood red, which I don't even know if that's the color I want their blood to be, but I want it to still be red as blood, especially with how dark the picture got. I've actually always thought it would probably be closer to more of a bluish purple, really dark color, either that or just really mess it up and give them a bright cyan or something. They're not even human, so they really don't have to be red. Heck, they could even change their blood color for the lulz. But I did keep it red because the original drawing did have that color, and like I said, I wanted it to be more readable, especially with the lighting. Seeing as it has been almost a decade since I first drew this, I knew I was going to see a lot of improvement, but I also haven't drawn an actual illustration, just my normal fusion stuff, in almost a year because of life and work and all that jazz, so I didn't know exactly what kind of improvement I would see, if any, because like I said, I haven't really been drawing. Especially from that 2018 drawing to now, I really didn't expect too much improvement, but I'm glad to see that I've gotten better with general anatomy, posing, and shading. I'm glad to see that kind of improvement, because I was pretty sure I was just stagnating over here. In regards to the difficulties of the drawing, well, I redrew the hands and feet about 90 times each. I could not remember how the heck a foot worked. And while the hands could have worked, I didn't like the placement. I think I went back to the original placement at some point. And I could have remembered to make their eyes bloodshot. That would have helped me. And I could go in and change that right now. Just pause the video and add that in. But I would have to be a better, less lazy version of myself. And we just can't have that. But on a more serious note, I think I need to work on more lightness versus darkness in my drawings. In the bottom right corner, I know some of the drawing gets kind of lost because of the shadows. Along with that, Rachel was already a primarily grayscale character with a lot of shades of black, which makes it kind of hard to differentiate between different articles of clothing, but I also drew them to be based off of me, and I know that's what I normally wear. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if all my clothes is the exact same shade of black at this point. So I don't want to change that, even if it would be better for character design. Then again, what normal person has good character design? So if I want to keep their colors, it may be a good plan for me to get better at cheesing it so the lighting will help make it more clear where the jacket ends and the pants begin, instead of me just staring at it, really confused for 3 minutes saying, could be a onesie, who knows? I know I also need to work on backgrounds more. I usually just kind of fudge it by doing an overlay of color to make everything squeeze together and look cohesive, but I should probably figure out how I want to actually do backgrounds, especially if I ever want to become an animator or a comic book artist or anything like that. Not saying that I want to torment myself that way or anything, but in the case that I do, I'll probably just keep pushing that off though, because I'm very lazy, and backgrounds don't come up enough for me to think about it until it's actually there, and I'm just sitting there like, huh, well, I'll be darned. But anyhow, I'll probably just keep pushing it off and just switch to drawing things with thinner line art for the background so the focus stays on the character. Who knows? Maybe I'll figure it out. Maybe not. Probably not. Aside from that, there's not really too much else that I want to say about this. I just enjoyed redrawing it and seeing where I got with this. I probably could have chose better colors for the shading, but back to the whole point of me being lazy, I just ended up sticking with the purple and saying, whatever, it'll work out. I just wanted to get it over with at some point because I was convinced it was taking too long. I thought like 3 days had passed when it had only really taken like 7 hours. So I just got really tired and said, whatever, this works. I just started using the same purple for the shading on everything. But like I said, overall, pretty happy with how it ended up because I didn't expect it to be as decent as it is. Also didn't think that I'd finish it, but I'd just scrap it again and just end up doing this redrawing challenge some other time and just being like, okay, I'll finish it now, like 3 months from now. But I'm glad that I completed it. I actually think I would do this redraw challenge again sometime in the future because I want to see where I'll go from here, and I want to see if I'll get worse or not, or if I change at all. I might just throw myself in a loop and start drawing Picasso instead. Now I've thrown me off my rhythm. But that would be fun to see. I would honestly encourage y'all to draw pieces you've done in the past as well. Sometimes you just don't see the improvement you've done until like 10 years later and you're like, maybe I've changed just a little. But I think it's a great idea to try this challenge out. It could help you see what improvements you've made, what you want to change, what you haven't changed, and what you should be working on. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say on the piece. Maybe next time around I'll have an actual name for you guys. But until though, adios. Sayonara. That is it. Y'all have a good night.